Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Quartet Lesson 10 Part 1 live stream. Tonight we are covering Nounにとどまる、一方で and Nounに達する. As you can see, last week we announced that we are going to be splitting the lessons up into 4 parts from now on. These are the 4 parts we're going to be covering over the next couple of weeks. These are the colors we use for all of our live streams. We have light blue for the new grammar points, and these are all colors for vocabulary words that show up that we think are important or that are on the JLPT but have not yet showed up in Genki or in Quartet. We mark them with these colors. If you have any questions tonight that are not related to the lesson content, just general questions about Japanese, or questions that you'd like Yuki and I to answer live on stream and not just somebody in the chat, make sure you put question before your question just so we don't miss it in case things get busy. At the end of each section of the live stream, we have a question time where you can answer a question or a problem that we give you, and we'd like you to put Q time before your answers so that it's easier to tell which ones are just answers and which ones are just comments and things like that. Makes it a lot easier for us. So the first thing we're covering tonight is doesn't exceed with Nounにとどまる, but this is a live stream, so all the live streams are, as always, sponsored by the members of ToKiniAndy.com and the Patreon. So we'd like to say thank you to all of you guys for all of your support. Without you, none of this would be possible. Thank you also to the members of the YouTube. You guys are also awesome. And all of you that are here tonight, thank you so much. And another reason that I said this is a live stream is it's time to say hello to everyone. How y'all doing?
Hi, みんな、こんにちは。いつもありがとうございます。
Konnichiwa. Felipe was one of our first people here. He said, hola, hola. The real first person here, of course, was Come to Japan Dan. Thank you, as always. If you haven't already, you should check out ToKiniAndy.com, says Come to Japan Dan. He says you will absolutely level up your Japanese with all of the content available. Thank you very much, Dan.
ありがとうございます。
Felipe, hola, hola, cat in the box. And Tamara says, yahoo, hisashiburi da ne, hisashiburi da ne, Tamara-san. Okairi.
リコラ。
Rikora. Alright. Jasmine for the win. Hey, hey, peeps. How's it going?
あ、Peeps.
Peeps. We're the peeps. Alright, sweet. Hit the like button. All says Come to Japan Dan. Yes, the like button does help a lot, so thank you very much for that to the 11 of you who have already beaten the call. For that Lumpy, Moin minasan.
モーイン。
Moin minasan.
Moin.
Welcome.
どういうこと？
Lumpy.
モーニンじゃないの？モーイン。
前。
前？ドイツ語？
もういやなんかでもそうかもしれない。わからないよ。でも前じゃない？わかんない。ごめん。
はい、ごめん。
はい。
ごめんね。モーニンかと思ったけど違うんだ。
Yeah, maybe. Waiting for the second series, hopefully with Andy. The second series. Inunaki Man. First stream as a full timer. Yes, it is the first stream as a full timer, isn't it? Technically, I guess. Yeah, I had my last work meeting last week, so. Okashiwa, how's it going? Ohayou
おは
gozaimasu.
ようございます。
Hi, konbanwa. First time was perfect. You're talking about the Inunaki tunnel video. Tunny. Yeah, the Inunaki Tunny video from Come to Japan Dan, right? Or are you talking about the game stream? I'm imagining you're talking about his video because his video was much better than the game stream we did. Although that was fun as well. But anyway, yeah. Noah Segota, I'm new here, but I'm on lesson 3 of Genki, so see you in a year. No worries, man. There's actually... Thanks for stopping by, though.
本当ありがとうございます。
There's quite a few people... you might want to slide over a little bit. There's quite a few people here who hang out who are still quite early on in Genki, but with that said, if you're on Genki lesson 3 right now, most of the stuff we're going to be covering tonight will be probably a bit over your head. You're, of course, always welcome to hang out, but yeah. I know a couple people here are on mid to late Genki too, and they tend to have no problems keeping up. But yeah, early Genki 1 might be a little bit difficult, but you're, like I said, everyone's welcome to hang out. We're happy to have all of you. I watch both, and Dan's video says if the video gets 20K, then he will go at him. Oh, that's right. That's why I said hope part 2 is with Andy. I forgot about that he promised. He's gone way past the 20K mark on that video. Looks like he's got a promise to keep. Yeah, I have to get down to the southern island, Kyushu, someday if I want to be in that second part. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being here today. It's about time to get started. Yuki will come back over for the dialogue, which she'll be reading. We're continuing our story from the last 2 or 3 live streams. It's probably not going to finish tonight either. But Yuki will be reading those for us. The long story. I mean, in reality, it's not that long because all the sections are pretty short. But, what are you going to do? オーストラリアからの、こんにちは, Greg Gaines. I'm on Genki Lesson 12, and it's also over my head, but I'm going to listen. Sounds good. Thanks for hanging out again, Greg. Now it was like 20,000 likes. Darn. I thought it was 20,000 views. Too bad.
No, even close と書いてある切ないコメントもあります。
Gotta double or triple them. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started? Yuki will be back for the dialogue. So I'm going to move into the pilot seat and get moving. All right, guys, you ready? All right, so our first section tonight is doesn't exceed with noun ni todomaru. Noun ni todomaru. So it's very easy to use this. All you need to do is have a noun and then write ni todomaru. And what it means is that this noun does not exceed something. The way that Quartet teaches this is that they're covering generally numbers and percentages. So it's saying it does not exceed this number or percent. So for example, if it was 10%, 10% ni todomaru means that it stops at or it does not exceed 10%. And Quartet only covers numbers, and most of our example sentences tonight will be with numbers and percents and things like that. But with that said, there are some usages of todomaru, or some ways you can use todomaru, which do not involve numbers. So keep that in mind. Quartet only gives you the number usages, but that is not the only way you can use it. It just means that something stops at this point, this line, or that something does not exceed that line. And it generally, if it's numbers, implies that the numbers may be small sometimes. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the example sentences. Our first one is 今月の食費は3万円にとどまっている. So this month's food cost is not exceeding or does not exceed 30,000 yen. The reason I said is not exceeding is because it's in the teiru form. We're still in the process of this month. So breaking it down, we have 今月の食費. 食費 is food cost. Food costs. If you see that kanji hi at the end with different kanji before it, it's usually a cost of whatever that the first kanji is, or the first word. So 今月の食費 is this month's food cost. Wa, that's the topic emphasizing what comes next. 3万円. So 30,000 yen. 3万円にとどまっている. It's not exceeding, or it's stopping at 30,000 yen. All right, first example is easy. 去年の選挙の投票率は 56% にとどまった. So, as for last year's election participation percentage, it did not exceed 56%. So, breaking it down, we have 去年の選挙の投票率. So, 去年 is last year. の選挙 is election. の投票率. 投票 is to vote. 投票率 would be voting percentage. And I've translated that here, since we already have election, participation percentage, or voting percentage of people who voted. 投票率は, that's the topic, 56% にとどまった. It stopped at or did not exceed 56%. And this is in the past tense because this is what we're talking about last year. So just whatever we're talking about, we'll use the tense for that. If it's this month, teiru works. If it's last year, the past tense works, things like that. And of course, you can use any formality here that you'd like. とどまっていました or とどまりました or, anything, depending on the situation. The question time preview for tonight is right here. The question time preview is not for you to answer the question right now, but it's to give you some time to think about the question that will be coming up at the end of this section so that you're not surprised by the complicated questions and have to come up with something on the spot. This will give you some time to think about it. So let's go ahead and go over what the question time will be when we get to the end of this section. It is あなたの地域の天気はどんな様子で最高最低気温は何度にとどまっていますかしたか? So, for example, the question is, what is the weather like, or what is the condition of the weather around you right now in your area? What did the max temperature or the lowest temperature, that's 最高 Kion is the maximum temperature. 最低気温 is the low for the day. は何度にとどまっていますか? So today, what temperature did it stop at, or did it not exceed? Or if you're talking about a past day, some other day in the past, とどまっていましたか? So depends, past tense or present tense for today, past tense for another day. So for example, we have 長野の冬の天気は. So as for Nagano's winter weather, 寒くて, it's cold, and 最高気温は, so the max temperature, new topic, マイナス2度にとどまっていた. So did not exceed minus 2 degrees, maximum temperature. 日があった. There was a day that did not exceed minus 2 degrees. So this is the more complex example of what you can make a complex sentence like this, but you want to go ahead and you can make a simpler sentence if you want. So 今日の天気は最高気温は So 今日の天気最高今日の天気の最高気温は何だったっけ19度にとどまっていた For example, you could just say that. But you can be more complex like this if you want. But once again, you don't have to answer that right now. You can answer it when we get to the end of this section after we've gone over a few more examples and give you a few more examples for that as well. So our next sentence is 健康診断の費用は毎年1人2万円にとどまっている. So as for the cost of a physical, every year it is not exceeding 20,000 yen per person. So let's break this down. We have 健康診断, which is it's usually used for like a yearly physical. Most companies make people get a yearly physical every year. And I know in the States, we just call that a physical. So I've translated here as just a physical. Well, you could also translate it more fully as a physical examination, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the yearly one. But we're generally we just get one physical per year, so that's why I usually call it that. But anyway, 健康診断, that's a physical common word, very common word. の費用, so the cost. は, that's the topic. 毎年, every year. 一人, one person. 2万円, 20,000 yen にとどまっている. It's not exceeding 20,000 yen per person every year. 1000人に行われた調査では、20代の日本人のマイカー所持率は 14% にとどまったという結果だった. So the result of a survey conducted on 1,000 people was that the percentage of Japanese people in their 20s who own a car, or their own car, did not exceed 14%. It's pretty low, eh? So breaking it down, we have 1000人に, so in the direction of 1,000 people, 行われた調査, so a survey that was carried out on 1,000 people, は, では, via that survey, では, that's the topic emphasizing what comes next. 20代の日本人 20代の日本人 is 20-year-old Japanese people のマイカー所持率 so people who have their own car. My car is it means my, well, we would never say my car in English, but it's literally just waseigo. It's Japanese English basically that means my car. So the percentage of people with their own car, shoji also means their own car is 14%, so 14% にとどまった. It stopped at or did not exceed 14% という結果だった. It was that result. That result was what happened. The result of a survey conducted on 1,000 people was that the percentage of Japanese people in their 20s who own a car or have their own car did not exceed 14%. All right, I wonder what the states are. 今日見た安藤さんの恥ずかしい失敗は私の心の中にとどめておくことにしよう. So as for Ando-san's embarrassing failure I saw today, I think I'll decide to keep it to myself. So I will I will decide to not let it exceed or go past my own memory. So I mentioned earlier that Quartet only covers really numbers and percentages, and up to this point in our example sentences, we've also only covered numbers. But as you can see here, it can be used for other things as well. So let's break this one down. We have 今日 today, mita, so thing I saw today, Ando-san no 恥ずかしい失敗. So the embarrassing failure of Ando-san that I saw today, wa, that's the topic. 私の心の中, so in my heart or in my mind, にとどめておく. So I'll stop it up or not let it go past my mind or my heart. ことにしよう. So let's decide to just keep it inside. I'm not going to tell anyone. is essentially what that means. And you can use todomeru, todomaru in this fashion. So keep that in mind. All right, that brings us to the story, the continuing story. So far, we had a young guy that's working at a company, and he is telling us he had really bad luck ever since something that happened. And he went to a drinking party with his company, and on his way home with a junior person in his company below him, they ended up at a shrine, a small purple shrine that shouldn't have been purple because it's a famous shrine in their town. And it's a big famous shrine with a big red gate, but for some reason it was a little purple shrine tonight, and it seemed weird, but for some reason they ended up in front of the offering box. His coworker threw in a 5 yen piece, and he had nothing in his pocket, so he threw in a game center ticket, and that seems to be when everything went crazy. At the end of the last episode, after throwing in the game center ticket, he passed out. So, and then he woke up in the last section, in the last lesson. He woke up and went to work super late, and well, he made it on time, but he was freaking out because, he was really late and he had to run in his clothes from last night. And now he just ran into his junior, the person he was hanging out with last night, and found out that whatever happened last night was not a dream. So let's get Yuki over here, and we'll pop through the dialogue. Okay, onegaishimasu. Let's get you a little bit more over here.
ちなみに先輩、部長に何か話してくれましたか？今日部長からメールが来て昇給してくれると言っていました。なんだと？俺の給料は3年間20万円にとどまっていて今後上がる気がしないのになぜ特にできることがない後輩が昇給されるんだ？いや、何も話してないよ。と後輩に答えた。
Alright, so we'll go full speed here, and then I'll go over it piece by piece. So.
ちなみに、先輩、部長に何か話してくれましたか？今日部長からメールが来て昇給してくれると言っていました。
Alright, so by the way, senior, once again, senior. Did you talk to the department head for me about something? Today, an email from him came, and he said he will raise my salary. So, ちなみに, by the way, senpai, of course, is someone above you in some position, whether it's in school, the school you went to, or you're in the business in this case. So, senpai, senior, I've translated it as. 部長に, so in the direction or from 部長. 部長 is the department head, the head of a department in the company. 部長に何か話してくれましたか? So did you talk to him about something for me? That's the てくれる part. 今日, today, 部長から, so from department head, メールが来て, so an email came, email is just メールが来て、昇給してくれる. So 昇給する means to raise one's salary. 昇給する. So 昇給してくれると言っていました. He said he was going to raise my salary. All right.
なんだと？俺の給料は3年間20万円にとどまっていて今後上がる気がしないのになぜ特にできることがない後輩が昇給されるんだ？いや、何も話してないよ。と後輩に答えた。
What the? My salary hasn't gone over 200,000 yen per month in 3 years, and despite not feeling like it will go up in the future, why would my junior who can't do anything special be given a raise? No, I didn't say anything actually, I responded. So, なんだと means what the heck, basically. なんだと? 俺の給料, so 給料, so my salary, は, that's the topic, 3年間, so for 3 years, 20万円にとどまっていて, so it had not exceeded 20 months, so 200,000 yen, which is about around $2,000, maybe a little bit less. And because of that amount, we know that it's monthly. 今後, so from now on, 上がる気がしない. So 気がしない means I don't feel like something will happen, and the thing I don't feel like will happen is 上がる, so go up. I don't feel like it will go up. のに, so despite not feeling like it will go up in the future. なぜ, why? 特に, nothing in particular. できることがない, so having nothing that he can do special. 後輩が so my junior who can do nothing in particular 昇給されるんだ so why would he get a raise? いや no 何も話してないよ I didn't say anything and that yo is actually と後輩に答えた I responded. Alright, so question time. お願いします。
あなたの地域の天気はどんな様子で、最低気温は何度にとどまっていますか？
So what's the situation, the weather situation where you're at in your area? For example, what is the maximum temperature today or the lowest temperature today or at some point in the past or whatever future you can talk about tomorrow as well. And that will determine the tense of the question. For example,
長野の冬の天気は寒くて最高気温はマイナス2度にとどまっていた日があった。
So the weather in Nagano in the winter is very cold and there was a day where the maximum temperature did not exceed -2 degrees. So we went over that one a little bit ago, so I'm not going to break it down now. Let's go for the next one.
3月10日のバンコクの天気は暑くて最低気温は27度にとどまっていた。
So on March 10th, no Bangkok, so Bangkok in Thailand, no tenki wa, so the weather in Bangkok on March 10th was hot and 最低気温, so the lowest temperature は27度, so 27 degrees にとどまっていた. It did not exceed, and that means didn't go below, right? Didn't go below 27 degrees. It didn't exceed 27 degrees because we know it didn't go below it because it's the lowest temperature for the day. 最低気温は27度にとどまっていた. It didn't exceed that line of 27 degrees. So how about you? Where you're hanging out at? What's the weather like today? All right. We've got a few things going on here. We got a couple questions we can answer while we wait for answers. We said, David, I can't read your last name. I'm super sorry, but that's a lot of text. Yes, indeed it is. It's a lot of text indeed.
こんにちは。
こんにちは。How's it going? Someone just said Andy. Hello. David says, こんばんは、こんばんは。Panji Pandi Pandami says, こんにちは、こんにちは。Hi, Panda. Pandemi says David. All right. Lumpy, Kyushu Trail, お久しぶりです。How's it going? Good to see you.
はい、お久しぶりです。
私はトルコ人。トルコからこんにちは。こんにちは。私はトルコ人。Good to see you. We missed you earlier, I guess. Lumpy has a question, so I hope it's okay to ask. I noticed I had a huge gap in terms of the knowledge relating to casual past tense negative of verbs. Casual past tense negative of verbs. Of course, then I studied how to change the verb forms then. I know there are some irregular verbs that act as golden verbs when changing them in mastem. Are there irregulars for casual talk as well? I'm not sure. Not really. There's not like a pretty rule like moving up and down the hiragana chart for short forms so much. But yeah, it's pretty much always the same, I think. Oh, wait. No, there's a couple. Suru and kuru are always exceptions, of course. Always. Ikanakatta. Iku's fine. Yeah, those are the only ones. Suru and kuru are always the weird ones. Ichidan verbs. Miru, minakatta. Same thing. You just kataru and add nakatta for the negative past tense short form. And for all the other ones, you just move up to the akalam, right? So for iku, you go to ika, nakatta. For taberu is an ichidan verb, so you kataru and add nakatta. Tabenakatta. What's a random word? Aruku. That's also ku. We already did ku. Asobu. Asobu, you just go up to ba. Asoba, nakatta. So there's no weird ones. It's just suru and kuru becomes shi nakatta, and kuru becomes konakatta. So those are the only sort of exceptions you have to keep in mind. Those two, I believe.
そうですね。
それだけだよね。Everything else is going to follow that rule of going to the a column, adding nakatta. Or if it's an ichidan verb, right? Just cutting the do and adding nakatta. I believe. Otherwise, nothing to worry about there, Lumpy. You're welcome. この名前読めますか？俺は読めない。
はがくんチャンネルなんだ。
はがくんチャンネル。はがくんチャンネル。こんにちは。
調べちゃうの、はがくんチャンネルを。
調べます。なんとなく。一つのビデオがあります。ただ俺が知っている人かどうかを確認したかった。
そっか、お友達かもしれない、ね。
かもしれないね。長野に住んでいる人かもしれない。わからないです。Alright. So, how's the weather where you guys are at? 今日の天気はね、最高気温は19度にとどまったけど、ね、暖かかった。
そうだね。19度、そうだよね。19度でも結構暖かいよね。
暖かい。最近、なんか、0度、0度にとどまる日もたくさんあったよね、最近まで。
0度にとどまる日。
最高気温。
0度にとどまる日。まあね、
最高気温
が
が0度にとどまっていた日があった。
結構寒かったよね。
だから19度は暖かく感じるね。
ほんと。
It was 19 degrees today, and because up until a couple weeks ago, the high temperature often did not exceed 0, 19 degrees feels very, very warm. Went for a nice walk today. An 11-kilometer run yesterday, which was also quite nice. Yesterday was also quite warm. But the legs are tired today, that's for sure. はい。
ちょっと難しかったかな。
例文が
難しかった？
もうちょっと簡単に作ればよかったかも。考えなかった、そこ。
ごめんね。
後で。まだ作ってるかもしれないけど。
そうだね。
For example, 今日の最高気温は19度にとどまっていた。とどまったかな？とどまっていた。
そうそう、と
どまっていた。So you can basically copy that and just add the location that you're in, or just add the temperature that you stopped at today, and that can be your example. If these ones are too hard, these ones are going to be hard to copy exactly, I imagine, without doing some research about days in the past. So just putting today's high temperature or yesterday's low temperature, something like that, as the example in the chat, should be good enough. So go for that. Tamara has a queue time. Nice. Well, before that, David says, have here like -4 Slovakia, if you know where that is. I have a general idea where Slovakia is, but it sounds very cold.
それセルシアスだよね。
Most likely.
そうだよね。
Tamara says, 今日のはイタリアは暖かいよ。Okay, so that's not actually question time. Okay, you're just telling us it's warm today. Nice. 12 degrees. Nice. Yeah, it's not that bad.
-4度か。寒いね。寒いよね。なんかさ、日本のさ、お家が寒いじゃん。なんか壁が薄いからさ。
まあね。
だから。
So, homes are pretty cold in especially in this area because there's really no断熱 insulation. Oh yeah, okay. So Slovakia, I guess it's not always that cold at this time of year, is it? Although I guess it's quite a bit north in Europe.
結構寒いよ。
今日はね、-4はそうだけど、必ずこの時期にまだそんな寒い日が続くかわかんない。きっと春に向かってると思う。
ね、そうだといいね。暖かくなるといいね。
ね。はい。
もう-4度にとどまらないでくださいと太陽にお話ししてください。
話したってどうなるかな。
頑張ってくれるかもしれない。
そうかもしれないね。All right. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes, a minute or two, and then we'll probably move on to the next one.
ね、セクションがいっちゃっても
そうね。
受付中です。
So even if we go on to the next section and you're still working on an answer, don't worry about that. That's perfectly fine. We will happily answer after we get to the end of the next section as well. So why don't we go on? Having some fun tongue twisters today, seems like. All right, why don't we go ahead and move on to the next section? We'll answer any of your question times if they come in the middle when we get to the end of the next section. ワインで今日、
はい、
は
あり
い。
がとうござい
ありがとう
ます。
ございます。
ウィーンだよ、ウィーン。あ、オーストリアだよね。
うん。
ウィーンで今日の最高気温は10度にとどまっていた。
いいね。そんなに
暖
暑く
かくな
ない。
いよ。
でも寒
結構
くない。
寒いと思うけど
でも
ね。
冬に向かっているよね。
春に向かってほしいけどね。ウィーンはだってオーストリアだよ。
うん、だから冬に向かっていくじゃん。
冬に向かわないよ。
秋になるじゃん。
どうして？
だって
オーストリアが
オーストリアか。オーストラリアじゃなくて。
違うよ。ウィーンはオーストリアでしょ？
オーストリアか。じゃあ春に向かってるか。
ほら。
じゃあ大丈夫か。はい、OK。
ジャーマニーの隣じゃない？
そうですね。
はい、
じゃあそんなに悪くないか。いいね。
ジャーマニーじゃないね。ジャーマニ
Anyway.
ーの隣。合ってる。
そう。
Good
answer. All right. So
Hi.
anyone else that has any
ありがとうございます。
answers to that question, let us know, and we will answer your question at the end of the next one. Okay.
はい。
はい、お願いし
また
ます。
ね。
はい。All right. So our next section is on the other hand with 一方で on the other hand. So this one it's not more complicated, but there's a few more situations that you can use it in than the last one. It just means on the other hand. It can also mean meanwhile. And if it's used talking about someone doing things, it means that they're doing these two things at the same time. But anyway, you can use it on its own at the beginning of a sentence if it's referencing the previous sentence. You can use it after a short form verb, after an e adjective on its own, after a na adjective, but you need the na particle or dearu between the na adjective and ippode. And for a noun, you need dearu between it and ippode. So ippo it's going to be contrasting basically two ideas or two situations or states of being between two different conflicting ideas about a single subject, right? So there will be one subject and these are two different ideas basically about that one subject. Or like I said, if it's a person's actions, it'll be at the same time. So they do those two things at the same time. You can think of like meanwhile in English can also be used that way. It can mean on the other hand, like meanwhile can be like on the other hand, but it can also mean that meanwhile or at the same time, this other thing was happening. So let's go ahead and jump into our example sentences. We have 日本でパンの人気が高まる一方で、外国では日本米の人気が高まっている. So the popularity of bread in Japan rises. And meanwhile, in foreign countries, Japanese rice is rising in popularity. So breaking it down, we have 日本で, so in Japan, パンの人気, so the popularity of bread, が高まる, so goes up. 一方で, and on the other hand, or in meanwhile, 外国では, in other countries or in foreign countries, and that wa is adding some more emphasis to what comes next. 日本米, so Japanese rice, の人気, so the popularity of Japanese rice, が高まっている. It's going up. So the popularity of Japanese rice is going up. And on the other hand, it's the popularity of bread is going up in Japan. So you can do that in any direction you'd like. It still works. So the popularity of bread in Japan rises, and meanwhile in foreign countries, Japanese rice is rising in popularity. All right, next one is E メールを使う会社が増える一方で、ファックスを使い続ける会社もある. So companies that use email are increasing. But on the other hand, companies that continue to use fax machines also exist. So breaking it down, we have E メールを使う会社. So companies that use email. E メールを使う会社が, they're the subject. 増える一方で, so they're increasing. 一方で, so but on the other hand or meanwhile, ファックスを使い続ける会社. So companies that continue to use fax もある. They also exist. It's true. Most companies still use fax here. All right, next one. おばあちゃんは先生である一方で画家でもある. So grandma is a teacher and at the same time also a painter. So we have a person and their actions or things they do. And when you use 一方で in those kind of situations, it means that at the same time they are also this thing, or at the same time they also do this thing. In this case, it's describing her different professions or the things that she does for a living. So おばあちゃんは, おばあちゃん grandma is the topic. おばあちゃんは先生である. So she's a teacher. 一方で, and at the same time, because it's a person's actions here, 画家でもある。画家 is it's artist or painter, but generally talking about an artist who does paintings. 画家でもある. She's also a painter. All right, this is the question time preview. Once again, it's just giving you an idea of what's coming in the question time so you have a better idea of what to come up with when you get there. So, the question time preview for today is その人は, so that person, 〇〇である一方で〇〇でもありますという形であなたや周りの人、タレントやキャラクターもかを紹介してください。So please introduce someone using this structure. The person's name, 〇〇である一方で〇〇でもあります. And you can introduce yourself, or you can introduce someone in your family, or a person you know, or a character, or a movie star, anything you want, you can introduce them this way. So, ピーター・パーカーは高校生である一方でスパイダーマンでもあります. So, Peter Parker is a high school student on one hand, and on the other hand, Spider-Man. He's also Spider-Man. So you can use that structure to introduce someone when we get to question time. So Peter Parker は it's the topic 高校生である he is a high school student 一方で and on the other hand スパイダーマンでもあります he's also Spider-Man. Thank you so much Tom-chan こんばんは it's good to see you. Thank you so much, appreciate that. All right, let's move on to the next example sentence. Here we go. 東日本で納豆は人気の食べ物である一方で、西日本では食べたことがない人もたくさんいる。So 納豆 is a popular food in Eastern Japan. But on the other hand, or at the same time, there are many people who have never eaten it in Western Japan. So breaking it down, we have 東日本で so in Eastern Japan. 納豆は so 納豆 is a type of food. It's the topic 人気の食べ物である. So it is a popular food. 一方で and on the other hand 西日本で in Western Japan では and the wa is emphasizing what comes next 食べたことがない so does not have the experience of eating it, never ate it. 人もたくさんいる. There are also many people who have never eaten it in Western Japan. 海外の果物の sorry, one more time. 海外の果物は食べやすくて小さい一方で日本の果物は値段が高くて大きくて甘い. So foreign countries' fruit is small and easy to eat. And on the other hand, Japanese food is expensive, large, and sweet. Breaking it down, you notice here that nothing here is generally negative or even necessarily positive. These don't have to be like comparing and contrasting necessarily positives and negatives. It can just be giving two sides of the same coin, basically, like in this situation. Fruits here are this way and fruits in this place, on the other hand, are a different way. So it doesn't have to be negative versus positive. So, 海外の果物, so foreign fruits from other countries. は the topic, 食べやすくて easy to eat, 小さい and they're small. 一方で and on the other hand, or meanwhile, 日本の果物, so fruit from Japan or Japanese fruit, は it's a new topic, 値段が高くて it's expensive, 大きくて they're big and 甘い they're sweet. All right, our next sentence is an adjective. We have 新築の家が人気な一方で古い空き家が増えている. So I didn't mention how we were connecting the ippode in the earlier sentences. You notice we had some nouns before, so we needed de aru before ippode after the noun. This one's an adjective, so we need na or de aru between ninki and ippode. So shinchiku is new, generally a new building. So shinchiku, I believe it's an N1 word based on these colors. So shinchiku, N1. Shinchiku no ie, so a house that is new. Ga ninki, so it's popular. Na ippode. And on the other hand, or meanwhile, I guess meanwhile would make more sense for this sentence if we're translating it in English. Furui, so old. Akiya. Akiya is a common word that means an abandoned house or an empty house. The house has been left empty, no one's living there. Akiya ga fueteiru. They're increasing. So new houses are popular, and meanwhile, old vacant houses are increasing. And that is very true. There's so many old vacant houses just lying around in Nagano City and all the cities all over Japan. But because, whoever lived in it passed away, like 7 people in their family own it, and getting them to sell it, all of them to agree, because they all have to agree, all 7 or 50 or whatever people who actually own the house, getting them all to agree to sell a place is almost impossible, but nobody actually wants to live there either, so it's a big mess. Lots and lots of empty houses all over Japan, and yet brand new houses are very popular. Most people only want to live at a brand new house if possible. Anyway, 日本で買えるチーズは種類が少ないが、一方で外国ではたくさんの種類のチーズが売っている。So in Japan, the varieties of cheese you can buy are few, but on the other hand, in foreign countries, many different types of cheese are being sold. So here you'll notice that we use the ga, the but, ga, at the end of the first predicate here. And that's perfectly fine. You can use different conjunctions before ippode, like demo or ga, things like that. Those are perfectly fine before ippode to add a bit more contrast to it. So 日本で, so in Japan or via Japan, 買えるチーズ, so cheese you can buy, は that's the topic. So cheese you can buy in Japan, は種類が少ない. So there's few varieties. There's very few varieties. が but 一方で on the other hand, 外国では so in other countries, and emphasizing it, what comes next with the はたくさんの種類, so many varieties のチーズ, so cheese of many varieties が売っている are being sold or they sell. Okay. All right, that brings us to the continuation of our story. Let's get Yuki over here. お願いします。
はい。そうなんですか。じゃあ、なんででしょうか。特に何もしていませんけれども。嬉しそうに後輩は言った。この野郎。と答えないように、一方で唇を強く噛んで、笑顔で返した。なぜこんなことに、でも俺も昇給してくれるかもしれない。早くメールを読みに行こう。
Alright, breaking it down. Let's go fast, full speed for one time.
そうなんですか。じゃあ、なんででしょうか。特に何もしていませんけれども。嬉しそうに後輩は言った。
Is that so? Well, then I wonder why. I haven't done anything in particular, but Junior said, looking happy. So breaking it down, we have そうなんですか. Is that so? じゃあ, well then, なんででしょうか? I wonder why. 特に, in particular, 何も, so nothing, していませんけれども. So I didn't do or haven't done anything in particular, but 嬉しそうに, so looking happy に後輩は言った. He said, while looking happy. That thing.
この野郎と答えないように一方で唇を強く噛んで笑顔で返した。なぜこんなことに。でも俺も昇給してくれるかもしれない。早くメールを読みに行こう。
So that I wouldn't respond with a you son of a, and you know what comes after that. Instead, I bit hard on my lip and responded with a smile. Why would this happen? But I might receive a raise too. Let's go and read my mail quick. Okay, so breaking it down, it's この野郎. It means son of a, you know what. と答えないように, so that I didn't respond with you son of a, 一方で instead, or on the other hand, or instead. At the same time, either way. 唇, so my lip. を, that's a direct object of 強く噛んで, so I bit it hardly. I bit it hard. Bit my lip hard. で、笑顔で返した. I responded with a smile. なぜこんなことに? Why would this happen? なぜこんなことに? Why would this kind of thing happen? The happen is being implied here. でも, but, 俺も, me too, 昇給してくれる. So, give me a raise, or I can get a raise. かもしれない, maybe. 早く, really fast, メールを読みに行こう. Let's go and read my email fast, is what he's saying to himself here. Alright, so, question time.
その人は〇〇である一方で〇〇でもありますという形であなたや周りの人、タレントやキャラクターもかを紹介してください。
So please introduce yourself, someone you know, a character, anime character, TV character, famous person, doesn't matter. Using the structure, their name は何々である一方で何々でもあります。So for example,
ピーター・パーカーは高校生である一方でスパイダーマンでもあります。
So Peter Parker, he's the topic. ピーター・パーカーは高校生である。He is a high school student. 一方で So on the one hand, スパイダーマンでもあります。He's also Spider-Man on the other hand, right? Next one is
大学の教授は先生である一方で研究者でもあります。
So the university professor, so 大学の教授は先生である一方で So he's a teacher on one hand and on the other hand, 研究者でもあります。He's also a researcher. So please introduce someone you know or a character using the same structure. All right. Thanks again, Tom-chan. Yuki has to read all donations to the
トムち
channel.
ゃ
Thank you
ん、
so
い
much.
つもこんばんは。いつもありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます. Appreciate that. Good to be here. Glad to hear that. Thanks for being here, Tom. What did we miss? Anything? A cue time. We have a cue time up here from Loopy.
はい。ハンバーグの今日の天気は、今日の最高気温は12度にとどまっていた。おー、だんだん春になってきてる感じがしますね。
いい気温だと思います。そう、ハンバーグの今日の天気の、今日は、ハン
バーグの、やっぱり今日の最高気温だよね、きっと。
そう。
ハンバーグの今日の最高気温は、そう全部ので、ハンバーグの今日の最高気温は、so there's a topic. Otherwise we have the topic particle twice there. は12度にとどまっていた。Alright, nice. Okay, Tamara has a question. I learned the honorific request in Japanese yesterday, and you said that with verbs that use になる, you should use the を動詞ください. But with ご覧になる, you use ご覧ください, which is the construction for ご, noun used with するください. Is it because らん is an active noun that you can attach to する? ご覧くださいと、ご覧になるがバーブだったのに、私たちはご覧くださいと言ったってことだよね。そうね。ご覧になるは見るのオノリフィックフォームだよね。
そうです。
でしょ？ご覧ご覧だけでもそれが実は見るっていうことなんですけど、になるはプラスのその尊敬語でなんて言えばいいの？
You raise them up.
そう、そうなの。
多分そっちが多分
問題じゃなく、私たちが
をください。何かをの動詞、なんかお待ちくださいとかはお待ちくださいでいくけど、ご覧になる use ご覧which is the construction for ご noun used with するください. Is that because らん is an active? I don't know why らん takes go particularly, but らん is just one of those ones. I thought I mentioned it in the lesson, but I'm not sure that just it takes go. らん
でもらんになるは絶対に言えないよ。
そっちじゃなくて、だってごI'm not so sure I understand where you're lost there, Tamara, actually. I'm not sure what Yuki's part is lost either. I'm not sure what's going on at the moment. ごめん。verbs that use になる。そう、ご覧になる。
多分、ご覧になってくださいじゃないのかってことじゃない？どうしてご覧だけで切れるのかってことじゃない？違うかな？
違うと思う。大体のになる verbs はを何々ください。verbs that end in になる become を。でもご覧になる becomes ご覧にご覧ください. So the go is what's confusing, not anything else. Why is it not o? Ran just takes go. Like there's not really a special reason that I know of. I'm sure there's a reason for it. It probably came from Chinese. I believe Chinese words take go or wo. Which one is it? One of those. So words that came from the Chinese take either wo or go. I can't remember. Go だよね. And wo marks Japanese, native Japanese words. So ran just happens to be one that has go. And goran ni naru is something you can say, but when you're saying goran kudasai, it's goran kudasai. It's not oran kudasai. Ran always takes go. The word, whether it takes go or wo, is dependent on the word, and it's the word's origin. Whether or not you can say ni naru or not is a little bit more random with the verbs. Those are with honorifics. It's something you kind of have to just memorize for each and every word. I think Japanese people do that as well. There's not like a special rule. はい。
わかんないけど多分音だと思うそれ。
音？
なんかさ次5なんかそのおの次に来る音が、多分何かになると5になるっていうルールがあるんだと思う多分ね。
何？
だって
もう一回？
お売りくださいとか、お食べまあお召し上がりだけど、お飲みくださいとかもおじゃん。
だって飲むとかは召し上がるとかは日本語じゃん。
だからそっかラン自体が
中国語
音読みだ
から語がつく。
そうかもね。
そう。語は
そっか
中国語の読み方にそう。So yeah, go goes with words of Chinese origin and o goes with words of Japanese origin. And why
そっか。
そう。That's really the only reason. That's the real answer. I lost.
考えたことはなかったけど、そうかも。
So, and the reason I think you're stuck on the ni naru and the ni naru determining whether or not you say o kudasai or go kudasai, and that's not the part that determines it. Whether it's go or wo is determined by what type of noun it is, what the origin of the word is. So ran is a Chinese origin. It's onyomi. So you use go. Goran kudasai, and it's in any form. If it's goran ni naru or goran kudasai, either way, it's going to be go. And any word that's of Japanese origin, meshiagaru.
食べるとか、
召し上がる。all of it is 召し上がるけど、待つ。
そうだね。お待ちになる。
things like that. お待ちください。Those ones will always take wo before it. So whether or not it takes o or go is dependent on that.
そうだね。
So you'll generally just have to memorize for each type of word that'll be used in honorific speech, whether it's wo or go. When you learn them, it might be helpful. そこだけが迷ってると思う。多分になるがあるからを使わなきゃいけないって思ってるで、そういうこと言っちゃったかわかんないけど、I may have said something like that in the lesson, and if it is, it's something I'll have to correct in the future, because you can't determine whether or not it's o kudasai or go kudasai based on whether or not it has ni naru alone. It's going to be based on the origin of the word. Okay.
なるほど。
Wo noun kudasai possible? Yeah. お待ちください for example. お待ちください is one example. お勉強ください sounds.
お勉強くださいは言えないよね。で、お勉強のおはその名詞のおだから、そのご覧くださいとかと違うのは、勉強するはするバーブだから名詞プラスするの場合はおプラス名詞になっちゃうから、それはまた違うんだよね。なんかそれで同じルールでいくと、おプラスバーブのルールでいくと、勉強を押してくださいになっちゃうんだよね。多分おをつける場所が超間違ってるけどね、今の説明だと。そのご覧くださいとかお召し上がりになるとかの、おプラスバーブの形でお勉強くださいってか、勉強するプラスおを をつけるとしたら、
Mm.
お勉強っていうのはおプラスナウンだからさ、プラスするバーブでしょ。
Mm.
だからバーブの前におをつけると、それはするバーブの時は言えないんですよ。
は
え
最後の最後までフォローしたけど、その最後の部分では I lost the plot. 言えない。
そう、お勉強くださいは、おプラス勉強っていう名詞ナウンでしょ、勉強自体は。
Mm.
プラスするバーブがつくから、
Mm. お勉強なさってくださいとか。
そうだけどおをつける場所はさ、名詞の前じゃん。お勉強してくださいの。
お勉強なさってください。
だけどなさるはその部分じゃなくて、ご覧くださいとか、その今言ってたお召し上がりくださいとかお待ちくださいと同じルールでさ、これを言うと、おプラスただのバーブじゃん。お召し上がる、おご覧になる、まあ本当は言わないけど、ご覧になる、お待ちになる、でおプラスバーブプラスなるフォームなんだから、それのルールでいくと、お勉強っていうのはおプラスナウンプラスするバーブになるから、そのするバーブはの時は必ず名詞が前にくっついてるから、そのさおプラスバーブのフォームになれないわけ。
はい。じゃあ何言えばいいの？
なんか
そこが一番大事なところです。
お勉強してくださいだね、きっと。
お勉強してください。
そう、お勉強なさってくださいとか。
じゃあさっき言った通りか。
そうだね。
Okay.
そう。
There we go. Okay, we got to the answer. Okay, so the reason that Yuki gave there, in case you couldn't pick it up,
ユキエキ
was
サイトして汗やばいんですけど。
the wo is on the noun, which is 勉強 o noun. The form that you mentioned earlier of o something something a verb, kudasai. The o is on the verb there. But since the o is on the noun, to add suru, it can't, it's not on the suru. It's only being applied to the noun. So you also need to formalize the suru part in some way. So you can't just say お勉強ください because there's no verb there. お勉強くださる it doesn't work. So you need to say お勉強, for example, なさってください. なさる is the very polite do. So お勉強なさってください, for example.
そうで、
let's not go too far into it. But if you have something that is useful to it.
その部分はそれで OK。
はい。
で、今ちょっと新しくいただいたその勉強は音読みなのにおはつけないの。名詞はおじゃない？
ランは？
それは動詞だから。
ランっていう言葉は自体？
ランっていう漢字自体それじゃないですけど。
I know. Is a noun.
だけどランだけでは使えない。
goran is the word, right? It's not, you don't just use a dan on its own. So it's goran. So that's why you really want to learn all these words. If you're going to be studying formal Japanese on its own, you're going to want to learn it all separately. But benkyo with nouns, suru verbs in particular, nouns that can be used as suru verbs, which dan is not one of, you're going to have o. But for verbs and words like dang, that for verbs and things like that, it's going to be dependent on generally their readings, whether or not it takes wo or go, from what I remember. So, omatsu is a verb that takes the Japanese reading, ma, right? Matsu, so that takes omachi kudasai. Dan is using the Chinese reading, so that's goran kudasai. For suru nouns, for nouns that can be used as suru verbs, they all take wo. Almost without fail, there may be some exceptions. Benkyo is a noun that can be used as a pseudoverb, so those take o. But we are going to stop there because we could talk about this all night, and we've already actually done multiple lessons on this way back in Genki, and it will take all night if and we'll get all messed up because even Japanese people have massive difficulties with this stuff. So without actually researching it beforehand for you guys and really thinking about it a lot, it's really, really hard to teach that stuff when it's still sort of a little bit foggy in even our minds. So it's something we always need to be prepared for to really be able to give you the best information. But suru with nouns that can take suru verbs are generally always going to have wo before it, and verbs it's going to be dependent on their onyomi or kunyomi, whether the reading is that or not. Generally speaking, from what I remember. Once again, I don't use formal super honorific Japanese, and generally you won't need to either, depending on where you're going to be working. But you want to be able to understand what's being said to you. But is go denma kuda? No. Denma is a suru verb. Denma suru. So any noun that can take suru would be o. O denma kudasai. O denma kudasai. No, it's fine. All right. So, but yeah, it would be o. So suru verbs. Once again, suru nouns that can take suru will be wo before it. And dan is not a suru verb. You can't say dan suru. So that's going to, that's different. That depends on whether it's onyomi or kunyomi. All right. I think that's as much as we can cover of that tonight, unfortunately. I hope it helped a little bit. Sorry.
もうちょっとリサーチしてまた何かわかれば。そうね。
All right. Let's go back to Ole Kashiwa had an answer for Syria's Siberia. Siberia's weather. I bet you it's cold.
はい。シベリアの今日の最高気温はマイナス7度にとどまっていた。
寒い。
ね、寒いね。シベリア寒い場所なんだ。
You just want to make sure you put no between Siberia and 今日。そう、シベリアの今日の最高気温はマイナス7度にとどまっていた。Woo! 寒い。Stay warm. Fedor says,
はい。
僕は日本語を勉強している人である。
okay,
so this is a Q time. Okay,
はい。僕は日本語を勉強している人である一方で、英語を勉強している人でもあります。はい、大丈夫です。
正しいです。Can I use 学生 in this context instead of 勉強している人？
OK。学生でも OK。僕は
日本語の学生である一方で。Yeah, that would be much shorter. 日本語の学生である一方で、英語の学生でもあります。Would be fine as well. Yeah, perfect. Benjamin Neldner, how's it going?
はい。
ベンは？
ありがとうございます。ベンはコンダクターである一方で会計士でもあります。
すごい。
右脳と左脳です。多分私は変人。わらわらと書いてあります。すごい。
So Ben is a conductor and on the other hand is also an accountant. Wow. すごいね。
素晴らしいな。
Using left and right brain. 多分変人だって。大忙しじゃない？確かに忙しいんだよね。
2つも仕事してたら超大忙しだよ。はい。
Welcome to the stream, Ben. All right, Lumpy says. その
男は父親である一方でおじいちゃんでもあります。
そうだね。Nice. Okay, so he's a father and a grandfather. So その男は父親である。So remember, nouns will need であるbetween themselves and 一方。である一方でおじいちゃんでも。So you want to add the mo there, the also. でもあります。This man is a father and at the same time he's a grandfather. Yes. All right. Butter Blakey. That's it, guys. It's been a good run. Think we broke him. I'm back. I'm alive. My head hurts a little bit, but I'm okay. Zinat Hasif. Yuki almost broke too. Konnichiwa, Zinat. How's it going?
Konnichiwa.
I'm your biggest fan, says Zinat. Yay, I'm 10 years old and I'm Indian. Well, I hope we can help you learn Japanese, Zinat. Welcome to the stream. And I've learned Chinese. Wow, that's awesome. Nice. Fedor says, I see. Thank you. Okay, first. I'm fine. In which city in Japan do you live? Nagano.
あ、そっか。
Nagano City.
ねえ、そのね、5とOはね、考えたことないからね、多分ネイティブは。
Ali Asif. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but hopefully. Ali Asif. I think that's your name. All right, sweet. たまら手伝ったよ。ありがとう。よかったです。とても便利で。
どういたしまして。
You're welcome. All right, sweet. I think I just said it. Already. All right. Make sure. I'm going to check something really, really fast. Sorry. Where the heck is it? There it is. Okay. Okay. 1 second. Sorry. Just want to make sure of something. Where the heck is it? Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There we go. Okay. All right, we're all good. Sweet. Aliasif, ne? Thank you.
あり
Appreciate
がとう
that.
ございます。
This is really beyond my skills, but I tried. Great gains.
お、ありがとうございます。トライしてくれて。デクスター・ホーランドはバンド The Offspring のリードシンガーである一方で、分子生物学の博士号を取得しています。
すごい。それ聞いたことあるんだよね。いいよね。
そうなんだ、デクスターさん、そうなんだ。
そう。
あんな、あら。ありがとうございます。
バンド The Offspring のリードシンガーのところは大丈夫ですか？バンド The Offspring。OK。
そう、である一方で。
そこだけね。そう、リードシンガーである一方で is the only part you want to fix and your sentence is fine after that. Nice.
素晴らしい。
I forgot about that. I believe I did hear about him a while ago. Pretty sick.
それ、私そういうの知りたい。ありがとうございます。
I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by the live stream, Zinat. I'm happy that our content is helping you. 僕は、消えました。
今何か意図的な理由を感じましたよ。
Disappeared. All right. Those are some good answers, guys.
はい。いやね、ちょっと難しいね。5と O の違いはね、ちょっと私もリサーチしてみます。みんな、ごめんね。役立たずのネイティブで。
マディア・プラデシュね。それどこでしょうかね。Maps。
すぐ調べちゃうんだね。
そうだね。まあ、なんとなく場所が分かれば。
そんなのあるの？
すごい。There's some pretty places there. Oh, so right in the middle of India, yeah? Oh, there's a big, it's a big state there. Madhya Pradesh. Cool, man.
すごい建物がある。
There's some beautiful buildings there.
すげえ。
Wow. That's a cool looking place.
何そういうのパレスっていうの？
Spot that over here. Right there.
こんなのあるの？
ね。
石？
じゃないですかね。はい、すごい。Well, nice to meet you, Zinat. Welcome to the stream.
よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。So, why don't we go ahead and move on to the next section, which is the final section for tonight, and that is to reach with Noun に達する。
はい。じゃあまた後で。
また後でお願いします。ちょっと you can recover from
そうだね。
explaining honorifics.
そう。
It always needs a couple days of recovery.
時間かかりすぎるよ、それじゃ。
One day we have to like take a course or something. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. It's to reach with noun に達する to reach. So this is just like in its simplicity, like our first section today with にとどまる. This one is instead に達する. A lot of the grammar points in this lesson of Quartet are dealing with numbers. Now, に達する, Quartet is also teaching this in relation to numbers, percentages, and things like that. But just like with にとどまる, に達する can also be applied to other things, not just numbers. So we have, I think, most of our example sentences dealing with numbers and percentages in this section, but we also have a few examples that are more general things. So you just attach it to nouns, noun or numbers. Noun に達する, ta, and it's a ta with a small tsu, する, 達する. And that means to reach some number. And if it is numbers, generally speaking, it's implying that number is felt to be a large number. It's a good amount, a big amount. So that's one other thing to keep in mind here. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. The very first one is actually not a number. So A 君の英語力はネイティブレベルに達している. So A's English ability has reached. So that's the ている form here. That has reached native level. A 君の英語力はネイティブレベルに達している. Good for you, A. So A 君の英語力 is English ability or power. So A 君's English ability は that's the topic. Native level. So native level, it's just the English, right? Native level に達している. It has reached. So it's in the state of reaching. When you reach native level, you're native level. So we can use the ている form, the change of state ている form. So に達している. Change of state, it has reached native level. Our next sentence is 1月のガソリンの値段は1リットル180円にとどまっていたが、3月の値段は1リットル190円に達した。はあ、January's gas prices did not exceed 180 yen per liter, but the price in March reached 190 yen per liter. So we have とどまっていたand に達した in the same sentence here. Let's break it down. We have 1月のガソリンの値段. So the price of gasoline in January. 1月のガソリンの値段は that's the topic. 1リットル. So 1 liter. 180円. So 180 yen. That's about $1.60. にとどまっていたが. So it did not exceed 180 yen. But が3月の値段. The price in March は that's the topic 1リットル 1 liter 190円に達した so it reached 190 yen and I think it's going up even more. Yay. Alright, so question time preview. This is going to be the question for when we get to question time, so you can just get an idea of what it's going to be. あなたの勉強や努力や趣味の時間は何時間に達していますか? So how long or how many hours have you done your hobby or something you've been working hard on or you've studied for? For example, Andy の日本語を勉強した時間は so the topic is the number of hours that Andy studied for. For example, Japanese. So you can just have Elden Ring をやった時間は for example. So just you can modify 時間 with whatever that thing is that you want to talk about. 約 so approximately 7000時間に達している. It's reached approximately that's the 約 approximately 7,000 hours. So you can do the same kind of thing. So how long have you been doing your either hobby or studying or working hard at something? That's going to be the question time when we get to the end of this section. Our next sentence is 現在 ESO, it's the name of a game, をプレイしている人数は200万人に達しているそうだ. So at present, the number of people playing ESO, the game, has reached 2 million people, apparently. It's a real set, but that's active accounts, not necessarily playing it a single time. So 現在, so at present, ESO, game, that's Elder Scrolls Online. It's the abbreviation of Elder Scrolls Online game. を direct object. プレイしている人. Nins プレイしている人数. I think I read that wrong earlier. I'll read it one more time so I can cut it in. 現在 ESO ゲームをプレイしている人数は200万人に達しているそうだ. I'll cut that in the stream cut. So anyway, 人数, so that's the amount of people. は that's the topic. 200万人, so 2 million people. 200万人に達している. So it has reached 2 million people. そうだ, apparently. Alright, our next sentence is ジョジョのジョータロウのスタープラチナのパンチの速さは高速に達している. So the speed of Jotaro's Star Platinum from JoJo has reached the speed of light, apparently. Did you know that? JoJo's punch is at the speed of light? Sounds painful. So breaking it down, we have JoJo no. So JoJo is the name of the anime. No. Jotaro, that's the name of the character. No. Star Platina, that's the name of his ability, his stando. Star Platina. No Panchi. So the punch of Star Platinum's, of JoJo's, Jotaro's Star Platinum his punch, the punch of that person, no hayasa, so the speed of the punch of Star Platinum, which is Jotaro of JoJo's stand, wa, that's the topic, 高速, so the speed of light, に達している, it has reached the speed of light. Our next sentence is, ある調査で節約のためにランチを食べないという答えた20代の労働者は5割に達したそうだ. So apparently, according to an existing survey, the number of workers in their 20s who responded, in order to save money, I don't eat lunch, reached 50%. That's a real stat. Real stat. Guys are crazy. Okay. ある調査でaccording to an existing survey で節約のため so for the purpose of saving 節約のためにランチを so lunch を that's the direct object 食べない do not eat so for the purpose of saving do not eat lunch と答えた20代の労働者 so 答えた is responded 20代の労働者 is workers は that's the topic 5割 so 割 with a number before it means you split it in that many no wait hold on wari is just like it's like adding a 10 multiplying by 10 basically so 5割 is 50% right 2割 would be 20% I believe 9割 would be 90% 90% so 5割 is just 50% に達したそうだapparently they reached 50%. How about you guys? Did any of you skip lunch to save? That brings us to the final dialogue for today. And I'm sorry, I still was not able to finish this story. It's going to be it's probably going to be 2 more lessons before I can finish the story. I just don't see any way I can finish what I want to show you guys, or not show you guys, but not to sound artsy there, but to finish my story. Anyway, let's go ahead.
パソコンのスイッチを入れてからメールを開けるまでだいたい5から10分くらいがかかる。だから待っているうちにコーヒーを作ってゆっくりデスクに戻った。椅子に座ってパソコンを見つめた。メールのアイコンをクリックして20秒経ってやっとインボックスに達した。部長からメールが入っている。大きく呼吸して部長からのメールをクリックした。開くのを待っているとき、ワイシャツにコーヒーのシミがついていることに気づいた。
大変だね。はい、full speed for this part お願いします。
はい。パソコンのスイッチを入れてからメールを開けるまでだいたい5から10分くらいがかかる。だから待っているうちにコーヒーを作ってゆっくりデスクに戻った。
So after pressing the on button on my computer until I can open my email, usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So while waiting, I made coffee and returned slowly to my desk. So breaking it down, we have パソコンのスイッチ, so the switch from my computer, basically the on switch. を direct object, 入れてから, so after スイッチを入れる means to turn something on. So after turning my computer on, メールを開ける, so be able to open email. まで so until I'm able to open email だいたい approximately or about 5から10分ぐらい so about 5 or 10 minutes がかかる it takes about 5 or 10 minutes だから so 待っているうちに while I was waiting or while I'm waiting コーヒーを作って I made coffee and ゆっくり slowly デスクに戻った I returned to my desk
椅子に座ってパソコンを見つめたメールのアイコンをクリックして20秒経ってやっとインボックスに達した。
I sat in my seat and stared at the computer. I clicked on the email icon and after 20 seconds passed, I finally reached my inbox. This guy's got a slow computer. Pretty normal for a computer in this country, I think. So, 椅子に座って so I sat in my seat and パソコンを見つめた so I stared at my computer. So 見つめる is a common word. Apparently it's not on the JLPT, but while I say that, I believe it showed up in my JLPT N2 deck recently. So it may be N2, but Jisho marks it as a common word that's not on the JLPT. It may be N2. Anyway, パソコンを見つめた I stared at my computer. メールのアイコンをクリックして so I clicked on the email icon and 20秒経って、I waited, or 20 seconds passed. やっと、finally, インボックスに達した。I reached my inbox. 達する can of course be used for things like this as well, not just numbers. So インボックスに達した。I reached my inbox finally. お願いします。
部長からメールが入っている。大きく呼吸して部長からのメールをクリックした。開くのを待っているとき、ワイシャツにコーヒーのシミがついていることに気づいた。
There's an email from the department head. I took a big breath and clicked on the mail from the department head. A little repetitive. When I was waiting for it to open, I noticed the fact that there was a coffee stain on my white shirt. His luck is perfect. So, 部長からメールが入っている. So, there is mail from the department head. 部長から、so from the department head. メールが, there's an email, subject. 入っている. It's in the inbox. 大きく, so big. 呼吸して, so I took a big breath. And 部長からのメール, so the email from department head. We probably could have just said メール or そのメール, that email をクリックした. I clicked on it. 開くのを, so the thing which was opening のを待っているとき, so while I was waiting for it to open. ワイシャツに, so on my white shirt, コーヒーのシミ is a common word that means stain, so coffee stainが気づいていること、ついていること、sorry。コーヒーのシミがついていること。So the fact that there was a coffee stain on my white shirt に気づいた。I noticed. Alright, so wonder what's in that email. Question time for this one is
あなたの勉強や努力や趣味の時間は何時間に達していますか？
So how much time have you reached in either your studies or your hobby or anything you're working hard on? So, for me, it's
アンディの日本語を勉強した時間は約7000時間に達している。
So, アンディの日本語 so my Japanese を勉強した時間 So, the amount of time that I've studied Japanese は that's the topic 約 approximately 7000時間に達している So, it's reached approximately 7,000 hours. It's probably more. I don't really know. Estimate. はい、ユキ。
私の ESO のプレイ時間は170時間に達しています。
Yuki recently started playing ESO and her playtime has reached 170 hours. So 私の ESO のプレイ時間 So Yuki's time playing ESO は that's the topic 170時間に170時間に達しています So she's reached 170 hours. How about you? Your hobbies, your study time, how many hours have you reached with that? All right.
はい。みんなね、Steam を見直してね、教えてください。
Nights 1980, how's it going? Michael has a Q time. How's it going, Michael? Good to see you. その人は
僕より数学力が劣っている一方で、僕より運動力は優れています。
おー。
いいですね。
Fair enough. So while he's not as good at me as math, he's better, or he's very, very good actually at, excels at exercise. Or nice.
2回目の僕よりはカットしても大丈夫です。
そうだね。You could cut that as well. 確かに。221セント per liter here the other day. Woo! How much is cents? I don't actually know what the exchange rate is. 20,000 221, right? Australian dollars. AUD か。to JPY. I have no reference. 189 yen. Okay.
同じ。
It's about the
同
same.
じだ。
It's exactly the same, actually.
なるほど。
Interesting. I guess that makes sense. I just assumed that it was actually quite low here compared to like the States right now. Although that's not, they do gallons, so I don't really know. I didn't bother doing the conversions. こんばんは。遅刻してしまって申し訳ありません。大丈夫ですよ、マイクル。ありがとう。来てくれて。
はい。修羅場は超えときましたから。
よかったです。Sorry, I'm late, Dashiel says. I was caught up with some work and I'm a little more tired because I have COVID. Oh no! 大変だ。大丈夫ですか？
休んだ方がいいんじゃないの？
お疲れ。
本当だよ。私の妹もなってましたけどね。
大変だね。
大変だよ。
疲れ様です。
ね、よく休んでください。
はい。お大事に
お大事に
なさってください。
大事に。
お大事になさってください。
ね、
はい、
だけどその時はさ、音読みなのに大事は O だね。
But 大事 is a する verb かな。大事するじゃない。大事にする。大事になる。I don't know.
それは大事なだからな
Let's not
そう。
get caught up on that, actually.
はい、すいません。
確かに。
ちょっと私、さっきリサーチしてもうかなりねごちゃごちゃだということが
そうだね。
分かってしまいました。
Humble Japanese is all over the place. So it's very hard to come up with rules and stuff for it. Alright, タマラ。
はい。残念ながらイタリアではガソリンは 2.3 なんて読むんだろう。
30ユーロ。
2.30 ユーロに達している。家族はイタリアに来る時の方がガソリンが安かった。家族がイタリアに来た時の方がガソリンは安かったかな。
まだ生まれていない私は。間違えたら教えて。はい、ちょうだい。はい、わかりました。残念ながらイタリアではガソリンは 2.30 ユーロに達している。That part's perfect up until there. So the price has reached $2 euros 30 cents. 家族はイタリアに来る時の方がガソリンが、
家族がイタリアに来た時の方がもう来ちゃってるからね。
そうだね。
もう来ちゃってるから来た時の方がガソリンは安かった。
So you're already there. So you use the past tense there. So 家族は when they'd already arrived. 来た時。So not while they were coming, but when they'd already arrived. 来た時の方がガソリンは安かった。Okay, very close. Just change that. 来るた来た。お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様です。
But Dashio still works hard on his Q time. ゲームと。
はい、ゲームと日本語の勉強で何時間足したか数えきれないほどです。
素晴らしい。Good sentence. Alright, so I can't even count the number of hours that I've reached on games and studying Japanese. Nice.
すごいね。頑張ってるね。
ね。Fedor says.
はい。僕のエルデンリングをプレイした時間は約75時間に達している。70% ぐらいだけ終わりました。とっても面白いゲームです。
いいな。俺もやってみたいな。ダシオ says おすすめですか？
ソウルシリーズが好きなので手に入れたい。
If you like a Souls game, you're gonna love it. I imagine. I've never really played any Souls games, but I still want to try it. But I don't have time to play it at all. So I'll get it someday, but I don't have time to play it right now. Well, yeah, because we generally play ESO at night together for an hour or two, which is the only time I would actually have to play it. But like her just playing ESO alone and me playing Elden Ring alone just seems silly. So I won't be getting it yet. But anyway, so your sentence, you want to change one little part. It's 僕のエルデンリングをプレイしている時間
かプレイしたでも OK だけど、そうゲームするなんだけど、ゲームのプレイ時間か、ゲームをした時間、
する or プレイしたそうエルデンリングをした時間エルデンリングをプレイした時間or エルデンリングをプレイしている時間でもいけると思うんだけどね。
そうで、この場合はエルデンリング自体がもうゲームの名前だから、
そうだね。
ゲーム、ゲームって言っちゃうとゲームするをここでもうエルデンリングを使っちゃってるので、
Elden Ring is the name of the game, so you don't need to say game again. So Elden Ring を
するか、
or プレイする。
そう、プレイするか。
時間は約70時間に達している。That's perfectly fine. はい、70% ぐらいだけ終わりました。
それだけかな。結構終わってるよ、それ。70% 結構終わってるんじゃない？でも多分
言いたいのは75時間なのに 70% しか終わってないって言いたいかもしれない。I don't know. It depends on if he thinks that 70% is a lot or a little. It completely depends. For some games, 75 hours and only finishing 70% is a little. For some games, it's a lot.
ああ、
So it depends on how Fedor feels about it.
そうなんだ。はい。そういうことはね、私はあんまりわからないのですいません。
Just enjoy yourself. If something's too hard, explore another region and come back later when you are stronger. Hey, welcome to the club, Dashio. Though it's not a club you want to be a part of. A bit of a different question. Do you take PayPal for annual memberships? Yeah. Let's see. Let's bring up the website. Not YouTube. Not that either. ToKiniAndy.com. So if we come over to the website, which is right here, you can see over here. Oh, you can see part of it there. Okay. Oops. Stop that. Let's make it smaller for fun. Okay. So there's the website. And over here is the annual membership. If you click on here, I believe you can choose a card or, sorry, let's refresh that. Or choose PayPal. So PayPal is possible for all of them. Yes. Sweet. Thank you for considering it.
ありがとうございます。
If you end up getting it, I hope that it's helpful. Thank you so much. CPA. Okay, I think this is a
CPA とは何かわからないけど読むね。
something accountant. It's an accountant test, or to become a type of accountant. Certified
なるほど。頭いいやつ
something
ね。
accountant. はい。
OK はい。CPA を勉強した時間は約960時間に達していました。とてもつまらなかったです。
So, super close. Okay, so the amount of time I studied to become a CPA basically was approximately 960 hours. Woo! And what you want to say there is, because つまらない is an E adjective, you want to say とてもつまらなかった。つまらなかった。
そうだね。そう、
お
それは
疲れ様
ね、
でした。
ちょっと難しいやつだね。もしかしたらまだそのユニットに行っていない
もしかしてね。
可能性がある。
ね。Yeah. All right. Cue time for Michael.
はい。Steam の、Steam の Apex Legends。
Apex Legends ね。
Apex Legends はプレイ時間が約1340時間に達します。
大変だ。
オリジンの時間も加えれば1500時間を超えます。
You beat my ESO 時間 by a lot.
すげえ。何オリジンってさ、
多分エクスパンションの
また違うの？
話じゃない？そうオリジナルのゲームとエクスパンション加えて1500時間。You've beat my ESO playtime, which is actually leet. I hit leet. 1337.7 hours. Oh, this is one of our PvP characters that we made. You want to say hello to... Well, you've seen our characters if you've seen the stream.
もう名前バレたよ。ほら、ライデル。
You can all feel free to add me on Steam.
イエーイ。
はい。
ESO でお待ちしています。
I wanted to say that I'm only 70% in and I played for 75 hours already. And that's amazing because an average Souls game takes okay. So then, yeah, you want to use, if you want to express that, I would go with しか。しか終わっていない。70% しか終わっていない。I've finished nothing but 70%. And that sort of しかない implies that you feel like it's a small number. So that's what I would go with. 70% しか終わってない. Or I can't remember exactly what verb you used, but you can stick with that and just use しかない. Origin, I see. It's a program like Steam. So he played Apex Legends on that Origin っていうプラットフォームを使って、
Steam みたいなのがあって、
と Steam の時間合わせて同じゲームね。
へ
時間合わ
え。
せて1500時間だ。
Steam みたいなのがあるんだ、他にも。
There's like Epic Game, the Epic Store. There's
それ
the Xbox
Apple
Store.
Store みたいな感じってこと？
まあね、Steam もそうじゃない。It's like the Apple App Store for games, if you think about it. ありがとう。今日サインアップします。ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。老人がグループに加わって
もちろん。老人じゃないよ。はい、何歳でも大丈夫です。
本当ですよ。
本当。
みんな、そう。
We have people of all ages. Today, I think we corrected some challenges, some voice recorded challenges from people in their 60s. I've had people in their 70s, even more, I think. Well, 70s is probably oldest we've had, but we have people of all ages.
まあわかんないよね。ほとんどの人はね、年齢はわかりません。
Many people say it in their
あ、
in their
最初の
introduction,
ね。うん。
though. So sometimes we know. So yeah, people of all ages, absolutely. And please let us know if you have any questions about anything at the time. なるほどね。
そう、最近私が知った今日が一番若い日だということですので、みんな今日が一番若いですので
そうね。
大丈夫。
今日が一番若い日。Today is the youngest your youngest day. はい。Fedor, oh, I've got you by 200 hours, but you got Yuki by almost 900 hours. So.
何どういうこと？
Fedor もESO 1100時間やってるんだって。
すごくない？めっちゃさ、CP があるでしょ、それ。
She said you must have a very high CP level. My level CP is not that high. I've actually reached the number of CP that you have hours. 俺の CP は、チャンピオンポイントは1100に達した。先週。Because I don't like grinding. So I'm stuck at 1100. Although I did a lot of grinding in the past. So I was 810 back when 810 was the max at least. But I haven't been able to go much past that. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any more question times, we'll be here for a few more minutes. But we just want to say, thumbs up を攻撃してください. Please smash the thumbs up button. It really does help. And チャンネル登録お願いします. Please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, if you've made it this far in the video, I feel like you probably have. If not, well, thanks for hanging out anyway.
はい、ありがとうございます。ちょっと私もね、勉強して新しいことをお伝えしますので、
お願いします。
Go と O については。
Oh, she's gonna study up on Go and Wo for formal stuff and let you guys know a little bit more
はい。
later on. Yes, and if you are subscribed, hit the bell so you know when we go live next time with one of these live streams. Can't wait to see you. Next week is going to be lesson 10, part 2. Remember, we don't have the practice stream anymore for the last few lessons of Quartet because it was getting to be a bit too much to teach like 7 sections in a lesson or even 6 for this kind of stuff. Because as you can see, we've already gone an hour and 40 minutes and it was only 3 sections. So imagine if we had 6 sections. I would be slowly dying as the night went on. But anyway, yeah, I think 3 sections was a good amount. もう終わったの？そうですよ、田村さん。でも、来週も一緒に頑張りましょう。So, it's a little bit shorter these days.
ね
But, その一方で、
その一方で、
うん、もっといいレッスンを送れると思います。
エナジェリッ
I
ク
think we can
で
give a better lesson if it's only 3 sections.
今日はちょっと汗が噴き出してしまって恥
ね
ずかしかったです。
でも多分カメラで見えなかったので大丈夫だと思います。
このいいカメラ、私の汗を映さなかったかな。
いいカメラなんですけれどね、今、1080p でストリームしているので、4K にはならない。そんなにね、画質がいいんだけど、わからないと思う。そんなに。
よかった。
はい。お疲れ様でした。Aren't we all slowly dying in a way? Oh, yes. That's how it works.
あ
That's how it works.
そういう意味じゃないけどね。
Well, I'm waiting for Yuki to do some research about 敬語. I broke you guys. No worries,
ねえ、
no worries.
本当だよ。
She said she's already started while I was teaching the last section. Yeah, Keigo is a tough nut to crack, which I've never really bothered too much with because it's easy enough to understand it. Like whether or not there's an O or a go before it really doesn't change whether or not when listening you understand it. And I've never in my life had to use it. Like some basic stuff, I guess. When I was working at a restaurant, I used it a bit. And you will if you work at like a restaurant or something, a bit. But other than that, when I was answering the phones and stuff, no, what was the old thing? Answering the phones at work, I sometimes had to use Keigo, but it was very like scripted, very simple, easy to remember. So, but anyway, she's gonna look up some of the Go stuff and see if she can figure it out for you. All right.
はい。またお伝えしますので。
Because all I do is fish. Oh, did you get the title? If all you do is fish and you're at 1,100 hours, you must be at least close to the master angler. No? Master angler is something I've always wanted to go for, but I don't have the patience for it. Like I said, I don't really love grinding. Every time I start doing something that involves a lot of grinding in the game, I end up quitting for like 6 months. I've been playing for 4 or 5 years, but just on and off. I play for like 3 months and I quit for 6 months.
types of headaches って書いてあるんですけど、どうしたんでしょ
Fair
う
enough.
か。あ、
いいです
敬語の
ね
こ。とだ。これは
ペラペラになるつ
敬語のことや。
もりだから。いいですね。頑張ってください、私たちも。Types of
は
headaches,
い。
migraines, hypertension, stress, 敬語。
ねえ、
その通りでございま
シ
す。
ンプトンが出ちゃうから。
そう。はい。ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。
いいですね。Thank you so much, Greg.
はい、よろ
Appreciate
しく
that.
お願
よろし
いし
くお願いし
ます。
ます。
そう、敬語むずいっすよ、ほんと。敬語
本
むずいっす。
当っすよ。本当っすよ。むずいっす。
ねえ、それが敬語だったらいいんですけれど。
When listening is good, but speaking is. そうだね。
でも私も同じじゃない？
It's a good place to be though. Some people, although on the other side of it, right? You can, if you're really good at speaking, you're kind of, in my opinion, really good at listening in the end. Because if you can say something, it's really easy to hear it. So that's one of the bummers. If you get really good at speaking, you're really good at listening to those things. At least those things. It just seems to be how. At least that's how it worked for me. Like I only practiced speaking, and then my listening was like leaps and bounds above everyone I knew. But if your listening is excellent, your speaking will catch up eventually, as long as you
ね、
practice a bit.
機会が、そう、自分でね、頑張ればね、きっと。
I have 2 characters with the title. Oh my god. Now I have my usual 6-month break from the game, same as you. Haven't been playing since 2017. Have been playing since 2017. Okay, same. I've also been playing since 2017. He has Master Angler on 2 characters.
さ、ネット
のタイトル。
フリックス見ながらこうやるやつでしょ？
Yeah, I don't. So. She said, while you watch Netflix and just do the fishing, right? You use like Votan's angler add-on or something, and just you hear a buzz. Okay, catch the fish. Back to Netflix. It's a good way to immerse. Fishing while just immersing in Japanese content. Hey, that's a way to play a game and immerse. That's in English and immerse in Japanese. Could work well.
すごすぎない？
ね、難しいね。
そんなに面白いのかな、フィッシング。
You can make a lot of money.
そうなの？
Yeah, you can make quite a bit of money, I think.
あれよりも、トレジャーマイニングよりも、
Oh, yeah, you can make way more from fishing.
私、フィッシングにジョブチェンしようかな。
From antiquities? You can make quite a bit of money.
そうなんだ。
Also, if you do just want to watch TV, but you want to be doing something like not too intense,
ま
that's
あ、
bad.
not
You can
bother
listen to
だ
good
よ。
music. So, not a big deal. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, have a great week.
はい。
For those of you who are on the website, we should have the stream cut out by tomorrow night or the next morning-ish. So, look forward to that if you want to review this. Is switching language in phone effective, especially still N4? Is switching language in phone effective? I mean, you can.
でも私さ、
うん
高校生の時から、
Mm.
英語にスイッチングしてるよ。
確かに Yuki's phone has been in English since she was in middle school. I don't personally, because what I found was I didn't actually have to read anything. I just know where everything is already anyway. So it didn't really change anything. But I mean, you can. But it also in the end, what would happen is if I needed to really, really do something, I would end up just changing it back to English, like if I couldn't find the thing I was looking for. So I didn't find it helpful for myself, but you may find it helpful for you.
ね、それもね。でもあれ、ガラケーの時は私、英語で一生懸命設定変えてたよ。
いいんじゃないですか? Go for it. I did it at N5. Nice. Well, I mean, hey, if it works for some people. So if you're down to try, why not? 友達と日本語で話してみるから、日本語で話すのが大丈夫だと思う。
お、いいね。
いいね。
ちょっと、敬語ね、ちょっと聞いてみてとか言って。
はい。Alright, guys.
難しいよね。はい。
Well, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
はい。
はい。
じゃあ、パート2でね、
はい
みんな、エイペックスで会おうね。
はい。
私はまだ始めてないけどね。
はい。また
嘘だよ。
またよろしくお願いします。
はい
また次のビデオで
お願いします。
会いましょうね。
はい。
バイバ
またね
イ。
Planning to use these books to learn Japanese in 2022?
We explain all the grammar from these books and more here on YouTube in detail. And on ToKiniAndy.com, we have tons of extra grammar explanations, interactive practice exercises with Yuki and I, native shadowing exercises so you can get practice speaking even when you're by yourself, tests, and even progress bars to track your progress through the book. We also plan on beginning to add tons of level-appropriate immersion material throughout 2022. We even have a new exclusive community for members where they can ask questions, help each other, and even play silly Japanese word games. Over 1,800 people have already utilized the ToKini Andy and Yuki premium content. Join the community today and kickstart your Japanese learning journey.